Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Robo Celestial here with a new video for you. Welcome to What If Deku Was a Dragon Slayer. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. Urza Scarlet. It had been several weeks since Izuku Midoriya had completed the UA entrance exam. Over that time he had been anxiously waiting for the results to come in. To distract himself from this, the nervous boy busied himself with training. He had met Wendy several times and learned more about the Sky Dragon Slayer. Midoriya had even gotten some good ideas for new moves to use. The most annoying thing that happened during those weeks, besides not hearing from UA, was his mother's sudden interest in his new friend Wendy. The loving woman wanted to know everything about the girl. What did she look like? What kind of personality did she have? Did she have a boyfriend? All of these were questions that Inko bombarded the green teen with. It was true that Midoriya had not had many female friends growing up, or indeed any female friends. The fluster teen had never been very good with girls. He had mainly focused on his Dragon Slayer training. It felt it was more important to not burn his house down than to get lucky. One night, Midoriya was studying in his room when Inko came busting into the room with an envelope in her hand. Izuku, you got a letter from the UA. I think it is your test results. The frantic woman hurriedly handed over the envelope and left the room. Midoriya held the envelope in his hands for a moment, fearful of the contents. Finally, he ripped open the envelope and a small disc fell out. Booyah. I am here as a projection. All might. That is right, Izuku Midoriya. But just so you know, this is a recording and I cannot actually hear you. But never mind that. I am here to tell you that you passed the written exam with flying colors. But I know you are more interested in how you did on the practical. Well, good news. You receive an exceptional 55 villain points on the exam. This is a very good score. But it is not your whole score. There were other factors being considered. Midoriya and Wendy figured this was the case when the two had met up for training over the past weeks. Wendy had mentioned that the practical tests seemed to focus solely on combat. The witty girl thought that was weird. Midoriya pointed out that they probably had some kind of secret scoring system, taking different qualities into account. After all, if the test was only about fighting fake villains, then the school would only end up with the best fighters. You see, young man, you were not only being rated on your combat skills, but how you acted during the test. A panel was watching how you performed during the battle and you were rewarded resume points if you behaved as a hero should. After all, what kind of hero course would UA be if it did not take such qualities into account? I am proud to say that you, Izuku Midoriya, were rewarded an awesome 90 rescue points. That gives you a grand total of 145. That gives you the second highest score. All Might pressed a remote which displayed Midoriya's score and the score of the other students that passed. Midoriya could see that he got a higher score than Bakugo, who came in third, which the fiery teen was over the moon about. But Midoriya was surprised to see that Wendy Marvell had gotten the top score. The peppy teen figured this was because the blue-haired girl rescued Uraraka from the debris and then helped the brunette to save him from falling to the ground. One last thing. You should know that I am doing this video because I am UA's newest teacher. Midoriya could not believe this. The number one hero was going to be teaching at UA. The green-eyed boy did not know how to process this. I look forward to seeing how you perform. Izuku Midoriya. Welcome to the Hero Academia. You have made it into UA High School. The overjoyed teen shared the news with Inko. The two had a long cry together after the waterworks had ended. Midoriya texted Wendy to let her know. The girl texted back quickly and congratulated him on passing. The green-haired boy then returned the sentiment by congratulating her on getting the top score. After several minutes, Wendy messaged a thank you for the warm feelings. Both friends agreed they would meet up at UA for the first day. That way they could wish each other luck. Of course, when Izuku told Inko, the woman got a knowing look in her eye. She was happy to see that her son had found a friend that he could go on this new adventure with. But she would need to keep her eye on this girl. Izuku may be growing up, but he was still her baby boy. On his first day at UA, Izuku got dressed in his school uniform and said goodbye to his mother. On the train ride to the campus, the worried teen wondered what kind of people his fellow students would be. At least he would know Wendy, but he had no idea if the two of them would be in the same class. Midoriya did his best to relax as he exited the train. Midoriya and Wendy met at the front gate of the UA campus. Like they planned, Wendy greeted her green-haired friend with a voice full of excitement. Midoriya, today we start our hero training. I hope you are as excited as me. I definitely am. By the way, Wendy, which class are you in? The ecstatic girl pulled out her schedule. This says I am in 1A. What about you? Me too. Now I am really excited. Really? So when you told me you were excited before, was that a lie? Midoriya got flustered at this question from Wendy. The plain-looking teen was still not used to having a girl for a friend. But he could tell from the impish look in Wendy's eyes that she was just fooling around. No, I was excited, but also worried. But I am really glad we are going to be training together. Why is that? Well, it is just that I have really liked training with you the past few weeks. Wendy's face suddenly blushed fiercely. Do you really mean that, Midoriya? Of course. I do. Would I say it if I didn't? Oh. I have really enjoyed my time with you too. Wendy then nervously cleared her throat. We should probably get to class. We don't want to be late on the first day. The two dragon slayers made their way through the hallways. Both kids came to a giant door with a 1A written in red letters. Midoriya wondered if there were giants roaming the halls. Otherwise, why would the staff need such a large door? Well, here is the class. Yeah, I am sure everyone here is nice. Wendy nodded in agreement. Midoriya slid the door open and was confronted by a not-so-shocking sight. Bakugo had already gotten into a fight with the blue-haired boy from the exam. The two people Midoriya did not want to see were in his class. You got something you want to say to me? 4 eyes. All I was saying is I cannot allow you to disrespect our upperclassmen by putting your feet on the desk. All talking stopped as Wendy and Midoriya entered the room. Several students exchanged hushed whispers. Bakugo audibly ground his teeth in frustration. Well, if it isn't the two highest scores. We did not get off on the right foot. My name is Tenya Ida. Hi, my name is Izuku Midoriya. And this is Wendy Marvell. Before anyone could introduce themselves, a tall woman entered the doorway. The woman was dressed in a blue skirt, white blouse, and black boots. That is enough noise. Everyone take your seats. It is time to begin class. Who the hell are you, tomato head? Before the foul-mouthed Bakugo could react, the crimson-haired woman zipped across the room and pinned Bakugo against the wall. The woman had her forearm placed on Bakugo's neck, and the bombastic boy's feet were dangling in the air. My name is Urza Scarlet. I am your homeroom teacher, and if it isn't apparent yet, I will not tolerate disrespect. She then glared daggers at Bakugo. So are we going to have a problem or are you going to behave? Bakugo tried to answer, but he was unable to make a sound. The spiky blonde pointed to his neck. Oh right, sorry. Urza removed her arm from Bakugo's neck. The foul-mouthed youth fell to the ground in a heap. After coughing for a few seconds, Bakugo replied, I apologize, ma'am. I will watch my mouth from now on. Good, now to business. The adamant woman extended her hand. With a flash of yellow light, a stack of uniforms appeared in the woman's hands. Change into these gym uniforms and meet me on the practice field. Not wanting to get pinned to the wall, or worse, the student went to the locker rooms to get changed. They then congregated on the field as ordered. Today you are going to partake in a quirk assessment test. It is important that I understand where you are in your development for me to train you effectively. But miss our orientation, we are going to miss it. You don't have time for that nonsense. You came here to be heroes, right? All the students nodded in agreement. You have 3 years at this school to become heroes who can combat the evil festering in this world. So show me that you have what it takes. All the students answered with a group yes ma'am. Midoriya, what was your farthest softball throw in middle school? About 80 meters. I think. Urza threw the green-eyed boy a softball. Now try it using your power. Midoriya wondered how he could use his power in this task. He quickly released that Mrs. Scarlet was trying to get them to use their power in different ways than they had before. The thoughtful boy could not help but feel that he had seen the crimson-haired woman somewhere before. Midoriya thought for a long moment. Then he got an idea. Midoriya channeled his magic power into his hands. The boy then took a pitching stance and made his throw. When Midoriya's hand started to move, a jet of blazing fire exploded from the back of Midoriya's hand. The stream of blazing energy propelled the ball higher and farther than the ingenious boy could have done normally. Urza looked at her phone. The serious woman turned the screen toward the class. The reading on the screen said 190 meters. Up to this point you have taken many tests, but you haven't been asked to use your powers in a tangible way. Use these tests to better your understanding of how your powers work. Cool. It's a physical test, but we get to use our quirks. This will be fun. Urza got a fierce look in her eye. Fun is it? Well, how is this for fun? The person coming in last place will be expelled. All of the students gasped in shock. Expelled? But it is our first day and we all worked so hard to get here. That isn't fair. Are natural disasters fair? Or villain attacks? Of course not. But it is the job of a hero to combat that unfairness. If you are going to be stopped by a little test, then you don't deserve to be here. Show me and yourselves that you belong here. Skillshare. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered, and with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in description below. I think it goes at the end. Midoriya and the others did not like the fact that this could be their first and last day at UA. But they all knew that Mrs. Scarlet was right. If they wanted to become heroes, then they would face worse consequences than expulsion. So, all of the students prepared themselves for the events ahead, while he was certainly concerned about Urza's threat of expulsion. Something else was also eating at Midoriya. The intelligent boy knew that one of UA's claims to fame was that all of the teachers were pro-heroes. All right, let's get these events underway. As Midoriya, Ida, and Uraraka lined up for the 50-meter dash, a small starter pistol appeared in Urza's hand. Wendy saw this and displayed a level of fangirlism that put Midoriya to shame. It is you. I did not recognize you without your armor. You're the requiped hero, Titania. Urza responded to this enthusiasm with a flat tone. I was wondering who would be the first to notice. Good job. Now run. Urza fired the starter pistol. The three teens took off running. Both Ida and Midoriya got pretty high scores, and Uraraka did all right. And so the events went on. Midoriya did very well in the long jump, long distance run, and sit-ups. Wendy also did marvelously seated toe touch, 50-meter dash, and side steps. BTH students got high scores in the ball throw, but were eclipsed by Uraraka, who got an infinite score. But the two elemental teens were wondering how they ranked compared to their new classmates. All right, you should already have some idea of where you rank, but here are the final scores. Urza then pressed a device that projected the list of scores onto a hologram in the air. Midoriya and Wendy managed to come in 4th and 3rd respectively, while the two Dragon Slayers were glad that they did not come in last place. The two were shocked by the two that came in 1st and 2nd. In 2nd place was Kaminari, a blonde kid with a lightning bolt in his hair. Both Midoriya and Wendy had a hard time believing that the goofy kid was that good, but they did not exclude it. After all, both teens knew Natsu Dragneel, who was a bigger goofball than Kaminari would ever be, but one of the strongest heroes they had ever seen. And in the top spot, somehow, was Momoyuri Arazu. After noticing the top spots, their eyes went to the bottom spot. The student's name occupying the last spot was Toru Hagakure. The class did not need to see the girl's face to know how she was feeling. The invisible girl replied with a choking sob in her voice. No, this can't be. Why me? Urza pressed the button on her device again and the list disappeared. Oh, by the way, no one is getting expelled. Every student's jaw, except Yaoyorozu, hit the floor at that revelation. That was a clever deception I used to get you to perform your best. I am surprised you all did not figure it out earlier. I guess I should have said something. Every student thought to themselves that would have been nice. An important piece of information to know. In this timeline, Koji Koda did not get into UA, since Wendy got 1st place on the entrance exam. The Annie-voiced boy did not make the cut. Be prepared to start your training in earnest tomorrow, before you leave today. Grab a class syllabus and read it before tomorrow. That is all. Midoriya and Wendy looked at each other knowingly, while both of them knew that UA would be a challenging experience. They did not think it would get this serious this quickly, but the two did not come to UA to take it easy. Smiles of excitement spread across the two elemental teens' faces as they realized the challenge before them. After the students of Class 1A got changed, they met back in the classroom. The group decided to introduce themselves, since they did not get the chance at the beginning of the day. The only one who abstained from this social interaction was Bakugo. He commented that he had no interest in getting to know a bunch of extras. Midoriya decided to ignore Bakugo's antisocial behavior and got to know his classmates. Unity was by Midoriya's side as the two interacted with the members of Class 1A. The skinny girl thought that everyone was nice enough, but she did have a problem with the girls. Looking at all of the other females of the class, the blue-haired teen started to get jealous. Almost all of the girls had such feminine features. The girl wondered how there could be so many girls with huge melons in one class. She also did not like how the girls were paying so much attention to Midoriya. While all of these thoughts went through Wendy's mind, Uraraka spoke to her with a quizzical tone. Wendy, are you okay? Wendy was shocked out of her train of thought. Oh, I am fine, Uraraka. Why do you ask? You were just looking at Midoriya with an angry look on your face. Oh, I was just lost in thought. By the way, how do I put this? Are you and Midoriya together? The pink-cheeked girl then made a couple of suggestive hand gestures. It took Wendy a few moments to realize what Uraraka was asking. When she did, the blue-haired girl's face turned ruby red. We are just friends. We have not known each other long enough for that. What makes you ask something like that? I was just wondering. I mean, you two seem really close as all. Wendy thought hard about an explanation to give Uraraka. Well, we both have elemental power sets, and our masters knew each other. But I will admit, it is strange just how well we get along after only having known each other for a short time. I am not surprised. There is something unusual about him, isn't there? I cannot argue with that statement. Midoriya appeared in front of Wendy and Uraraka. Hey Wendy, Ida and I are going to walk to the train together. Do you girls want to join us? That sounds like a good idea. Let go. I agree, Midoriya. By the way, I have been meaning to ask you a question all day, Midoriya. What does Deku mean? Midoriya got an uneasy look on his face. That is a name that Kaken would call me to make fun of me. Bakugo would make fun of his own classmate. That is unforgivable. That is bad. But I think that Deku would be a great hero name. She has a point, Midoriya. It is short, snappy, and unusual, just like you. Are you saying I am weird, Wendy? Of course you are, but that is what makes you so cool. So, lean into your weirdness. Make it your strength. She has a point. Plus the name is really cute. The praise from the two girls made Midoriya's face turn a glowing shade of red. Okay, Deku it is. Such a quick change. Didn't you just say that name was an insult? The group shared a laugh and then went to the train station. Meanwhile, a meeting was taking place in the principal's office. In attendance was Lucy Hartfilia, Urza Scarlet, and Nezu. So how did your first day go, Mrs. Scarlet? Everything went fine, sir. My class has a lot of potential, but there is a lot of wasted energy. Are there any ones that stand out to you? It is early for that, but there are a few that strike me as having the seeds of great power in them. Well, that sounds promising. Nezu then mused to himself for a few moments. Do you know why I hired you as a homeroom teacher? Mrs. Scarlet, I would assume it is because you have several students that have magical powers. You are very perceptive. It was hard to miss the fact that Lucy and Natsu's students were in my class, and that a few others have high magic powers. So, you know both Mrs. Hartfilia and Mr. Dragneel. The number of individuals who can perform magic has been decreasing as quirks have become more widespread, so those of us that do practice it know of each other. In fact, I was Lucy's maid of horror in her wedding to Natsu. How nice. But I asked you two here to talk about Wendy Marville. Mrs. Hartfilia tells me that the young lady has healing powers, in addition to her air magic. That is correct, though I have not seen her use this power yet. I would guess it is because Lucy told her not to do so. Magic users can learn several different power sets. Masters like Lucy and myself will tell our students to only use one power set at a time, especially if they work as a hero. Using multiple powers draws too much attention. Magic users were unfairly targeted as pawns of All for One in his heyday. Many were killed or imprisoned. Such dark days. I don't think we can ever undo all of the harm done during the dark days. But I wanted to ask, how strong is Mrs. Marvel's healing powers? The girl's potential is as great as I have ever seen, but it will take time for her to reach her full power. As I thought, I would like to have her placed in additional training on her recovery girl. Do you two think that would be helpful? The two ladies looked at each other. Then Lucy spoke. I do not think that would be as helpful as you think, Principal. Why is that? Recovery girl's powers and Wendy's are so different. Anything the youthful heroine could teach Wendy would not be applicable. But don't worry, if Wendy continues to be around Midoriya, she will get plenty of practice. You think so? Yes, Midoriya is a lot like Natsu. He would not think twice about getting beaten to hell to save someone. Well, let's hope it does not come to that. But I will do as you two wish. Thank you, Principal. I am interested to see what this year has in store for us. As Midoriya approached the UA campus from the train station, a strange sight caught his eye. A large group of adults were swarming the US entrance. It was not until he got closer that he saw that the large group was reporters. Midoriya had never seen a group this big before. As Midoriya got closer to the gate, a group of 5 reporters rushed him and placed microphones in his face. Young man, what is it like having All Might for a teacher? Yeah. How is the number one handling his new responsibilities as a teacher? Midoriya answered no questions and bolted for the gate. Some of his classmates did answer questions. Kaminari, especially, aimed it up for the cameras. Urza Scarlet came upon this scene and got fire in her eyes. What is going on here? Miss, can we get a few words with All Might? So, that is what is going on. All Might is not on campus today. Now go away. You have disturbed my students enough. Urza then led the students at the front gate inside. One reporter got very pissed off at being told to leave. Hey, we are members of the press. We have a right to be here. The woman then tried to step over the UA threshold and nearly missed getting cut in half by the UA barrier. Class 1A gathered in their homeroom. Urza stood in front of the classroom at the lectern. Good morning, class. Today you will be attending to a matter of extreme importance. The whole class was worried about this task. Every student held their breath out of fear. Everyone wondered if Urza would threaten to expel the whole class if they failed. The crimson-haired hero stood with a fiery gaze locked onto the students. Finally, the steely-eyed educator spoke in a calm tone. Today, You will be choosing a class representative. Every student gave a relieved exhale at this news. While picking a class representative would just be a normal classroom activity at any other school, this was UA. Being chosen as class representative would show hero agencies that you have leadership skills. And it could be easier to get into internships and jobs at powerful agencies. Every student was gunning for the position. A massive argument broke out between all of the students. Bakugo and Midoriya got so fired up that the two got in each other's faces and started hurling insults at each other.